G'day punters, welcome to the deep dive for 2021. We're just starting off a little bit low key. We'll go around the grounds. We'll talk a little bit about everything, but we'll start off with Sydney, and that of course means Mark Rhoden and Rob Scurry to guide us through what happened at Rosehill on the weekend. Rob, I'll start with you. What was the general tenor of the day on course?
Well, it was 17 mils of rain over the week, and we've got nearly a heavy track, so that always upsets me a little bit. Just the building work just starts as we record. So yeah, that was a bit of a worry, and it was muggy, so you got horses sweating up, which makes it even tougher. Yeah, look, I had a reasonable kind of day. Could have, you can always do better in this game, can't you? But yeah, look, it was good to see the 2-year-olds. Good to see some great horses back. Some quality horses. We've been this sort of B grade Saturday stuff for ages. So it's good to see the good ones come back.
Yeah, autumn isn't too far away. We're obviously getting to that stage where it's obviously crucial to be taking in every aspect of the form. That includes the mounting yard. Mark, how many times can we talk about Sydney getting bugger all rain and it ending up being a heavy track? I mean, there was 50 something mils of rain in Melbourne, and they're racing on a soft 5, borderline good 4 for most of the day. So it's just business as usual in New South Wales, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't think the track. I thought the track raced really fairly. It was. A few leaders won, but it was totally. There were only a couple of races where there was any speed on, so it wasn't surprising in those races the backmarkers didn't really have an impact. But you saw in a couple of races like Vadian's race that Great House won, and then the race that Brutality won, when the leaders have run along. Well, Brutality came from last, and Great House came from well back, and 3 or 4 leaders have won as well. It was probably wetter than it should have been, given the stats rain-wise and irrigation-wise, but as a surface and a surface to bet on, I think it was fine.
It's interesting to me, like the Sydney racing. I reckon Brutality and Shake came out of the same Warwick Farm meeting where they both won.
They did, and then they came out of the same Saturday meeting as well, and have both ran pretty good figures as well that day too.
Is that a common thing where they can progress right through like
that? Well, you get a lot of 78s in town on Saturdays, and it's the same money, 125,000. So they're only. I mean, the most common race on a Wednesday is a 72, and the lowest benchmark on a Saturday is 78. So it's not a huge leap. They're usually getting weight relief, and the thing about those 2 horses you mentioned, who won at Warwick Farm, and the figures bear this out, they can accelerate. So when they go up in class and drop in weight, they're right in the race.
Yep.
And now they've both won. They were both unsuited at the meeting 2 weeks ago, but ran on really well, and they got in more suitable races on Saturday. Shake was up in trip, and they won.
So fair track, but a heavy sort of track.
Yeah. And
what do you do with the form out of this meeting?
Well, there's a few leaders that have won by big spaces that have been really, really flattered and totally, PR'd, as they say these days. The Canasta race was farcical. They hadn't got any gallop, and Jay McDonald was sitting third, about 4 lengths off the leader, sort of blocking anything that wanted to take closer order. If they were either had to trail him or have the possibility of him kicking up inside them and spearing them right off the track. So those backmarkers, it was the second half of the field horses, were out of play at the halfway mark in that race. Savatiano, same deal.
Well, we'll get to that. We're going to look at races 2, 3, 4, 7 and 9. We'll start with race 2, which is a Group 3 for the 2-year-old fillies. Mallory's broken benchmark on the overall ratings off what was an even tempo. I guess probably the question here is, how does it stack up on type? We've got a line through both it and Enthar. Obviously, Enthar has recorded a figure that was 3 lengths superior at Caulfield on Saturday. Rob, just give us an overview of what you think of both those horses as types.
Well, I think we talked about it on the preview a little bit. Mallory, she was the first horse I marked off in the breeders against Enthar, who I thought was a bit of a giant filly. I'm interested to hear what you've got to say about her, if she's grown a bit in the months since. But Mallory paraded a lot better than it did that day, because that day I couldn't have it at all. First horse I dismissed as chance, and it ran very well. So I was very keen to see it. It still got a little bit hot, but not as hot as the second horse here, Total Babe, which got really, really sweaty, which in this case was the first horse I just couldn't have. So that made me keen to bet in the race when the second, or one of the equal sort of favourites I just can't have. But yeah, it looked decent to good type, and I thought it showed a bit of grit and tenacity to actually get up and win. It was in a little pocket, I guess it's sort of Jay Collett's MO, scraping paint and pushing them through, and that's kind of, I do feel kind of good when he's on. He seems to be a bit of a lucky jockey for me, Collett. And yeah, Vianello's little wet type, so I don't think that'll improve that much onto a drier surface. But yeah, mostly interested to see what Total Babe looks like, and I think Mallory can, proceed to, bigger and better things.
Which was the best horse you saw on Saturday?
Oh, it's got to be in the Expressway. Colding is probably the best type, and Savatiano is a big, powerful thing. Doesn't look like a wet tracker. That always stuffs me up. It puts on type. You got these on type. We know sometimes big, strong horses can plow through the wet like Hayless did in the All Aged, and sometimes you just want little skinny, athletic, little fit things, which is not usually my go. I prefer the stronger types. But yeah, look, I'd say Colding was the best type I saw there.
Mark, on this race with the 2-year-olds, obviously Mallory's figure is on the punting form data. It's 1.2 lengths inferior to what Enthar recorded on debut. Are we looking at anything here that could potentially figure later in the autumn?
Only the winner. Yeah, she was a clear standout performance in the race. The betting was bizarre. I mean, Mallory's SP, what?
5:30.
After being, close to $3 most of the day. That was I think the market thought that it was mad leaders after the thing had won the highway by 4. Big odds leading all the way, 50-1 or something. And Mallory was maybe the most likely of the 3 in the market to get back. Maybe that was the thing. I don't know. But I think, she's got to be a level off Enthar on what we've seen so far. But most of them are, to be honest. The things, I was just looking at the slipper market this morning, the things nearest her in the betting are things like Remark, Profiteer and Shakiro, whose figures are nowhere near hers on what we've seen so far. Of course, they're 2-year-olds and that can improve very quickly. I'm not discounting those horses, but just on what we've seen, they're a long way off her. The things that are closer to her on figures are horses like Acrobat, who won the English race, and Rob's horse that he found the other week, Stay Inside, and they're around the $17-21 mark. I think they're much bigger threats to Enthar on what we've seen so far than some of the other ones further up. And I think Mallory's, she's a level off Enthar, but, she's a promising debut behind Enthar. She's obviously come back very well. She has a platform. She's $26, which seems about right to me at the moment, but that doesn't mean she can't improve and put herself in it.
Well,
I think the biggest box tick for Enthar is a racing pattern.
Yeah.
Versus all these 2-year-olds. Like, she looks like the best horse by a fair way already. Yeah. She's not going to need anything to go her way with a barrier or a track condition. She's like pretty bomb-proof. That's the biggest edge she's got.
Yeah,
I wouldn't like to see her on a really.
The race is 7 weeks away.
I wouldn't like to see her on a really wet track, and I'd be against her on type. Something to prove me wrong, but I'd still be laying her. What about the thing in the China Horse Club colours that Mark likes? I forget the name, but it won at its first start.
Was that it?
Anyway, that's annoying if I can't remember the name. Sorry, guys, but there's a big colt.
That's good YouTube. That.
Yeah. What about that horse that I don't know its name? Anyway, someone will be screaming it at me. It ran in the China Horse Club, then it ran at Rosehill. It ran third.
Captivant?
Captivant. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that's one of the better types in some kind of chance. And we've got to have a look at the Coolmore horse again that won the sales race. That's what we saw.
Acrobat. Yeah.
Yeah, run a good figure.
The English races are usually dreadful, but that form might be stronger than Magic Million form this year.
Okay, well, let's kick on to the Colts and Geldings because we won't really probably have to spend too much time here. Zethus didn't break benchmark off an even tempo, which just show the last couple of 100 metres. Now, Rachel King was pretty strong on the horse late to get it over top of Home Affairs. Rob, just run us through what you thought on type out of the yard there.
Look, I had Home Affairs clearly on top. I thought it was one of the better two. I liked it more than the Friedman thing I saw the other week that won for me. This one looked like a proper stallion prospect, ready to go, like forward for Waller. And I thought it would win. I think it might have even hit $1.01.
This thing.
Yeah.
I think Peter and I should take a small level of responsibility for this. We'll perch down the Caulfield members and said, "Oh fuck, the boys are both on this. This will be good. This will be really good for morale. Just a bit of momentum early in the card." Yeah. And then we look. We got no idea. Then we look at the price. Fuck, pretty short. Yucky. All right. 100 out. We're back.
Well, yeah. Look, I kind of liked the winner as well, Zethus, but he looked more of he's a big strong bugger, and he looks a bit short of a run. So I thought, maybe this softer track is not his day, and he'll improve. And so yeah, to see him, beat us, and look, I think it was about 4 across the track within a header or a neck of each other. So it's bunch finished. But look, I think that the second horse will improve on this, and
so there is still scope for improvement from a mounting out point of view for you.
Yeah. And look, I've got a kind of thing in my head where horses just can't. It might be Richie Callender. He put it in my head years ago. He said, 2-year-olds can really improve from first to second start, and I think there's a fair bit of truth in that.
Mark, is there enough improvement in Zethus or Home Affairs to even challenge Mallory, let alone an enter?
I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
But, a lot of things surprised me. I was very surprised Home Affairs got beaten after it strolled to the front at the 300. But that's the way it goes.
And it's even more flat when you look at the data, and
I know.
There's no excuse.
It was just wait. Someone's told it at about the 150 that I was on it, and it's just tried to find a way to get beaten and succeeded right on the post. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, because now that you said that, I reckon we might have roared this home at the 400, and then about the 200, I said this thing's up fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was going
but
to
then you weren't sure if something was going to be able to get there.
Yeah.
It was so...
It was going in by 4 at the turn, and then it was just floating at the 200, but I thought, nothing's really coming. And you're right, you look at the data, nothing was really coming at a rate of knots. They just stopped. But the figures tell us that the slipper winner was not in this race.
Yeah, so on the all-average punting form, like data, if you're watching or listening at home, the fillies race has gone 1 length below average, 1 length slow, versus the all average, whereas the boys have gone 2.7, and then the girls have come home 2.5 lengths faster again. So it's massive advantage to fillies out of these 2 races.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at race 4. It's a benchmark 78 over 2,000. Great Houses performed off a very fast tempo. We're talking 8.5 lengths fast for the class. In terms of the overall figure, it's not anything to write home about, but it certainly was visually impressive. Rob, just a Great House second start in Australia. What do you think?
Nice athletic walker. Got really hot and sweaty, which is very rare for a Chris Waller horse. But it was almost lather. But in saying that, I guess it's probably not used to the humidity. It was a really kind of sticky day with evaporation coming up everywhere. So that put me off it. It's got out to on the win. It's got out late. 317 is seems like a very good price against these walkers.
Unbelievable. If this horse raced in Melbourne, we all would have been on and we all would have won, and I would have won for the day in Melbourne. I think it's a huge effort, this horse. It's the second ever start. It's gone 1,600, second ever odd start, 1,600 to 2,000. They've gone fucking quick.
Yeah.
And if this race went for another 400 metres, he would have won by 35 lengths.
Yeah, I agree. Vadiana's gone stupid in front again. He miscounted the laps or something. He's just gone way, way, way too hard. But that's busted up every horse in the race except the winner. Who is his second Australian start, 4th career start. Only had 2 starts overseas. Yeah. Very inexperienced horse. The last section's diabolical, but you can't run good late sections when you go out that fast. None of them can.
And it's stepping up 400 metres second start.
Well, that's what it wants, but to do that and cop the...
but to step up the 400 with, then the suicidal tempo.
Yeah.
It wants to step up the 400 and just like get through its work and come home nice.
Yeah.
What do we do with it next start though? Because they went slow for the class to the 6 at Flemington first up behind Fire and Dry, who somehow didn't back up that form. Went okay, but
that was a funny run race at Flemington. The interesting thing is, he's on the punting form data. His overall benchmark figures are, pretty good in both cases. But he's had to run it all in the first half of the race on Saturday, and at Flemington he did it all in the second half of the race. So he's not necessarily one-dimensional.
Yep.
Okay, look, you can point to the data and say this has been absolutely put on for him on Saturday because of what the leader did, but he still had to go at a good clip to be anywhere near in touch in that first half of the race. So when a race is more sensibly run, so to speak, he could be up handy over 2,000, 2,400.
And he's gone from a good track to a soft track, to a soft, heavy track. He ticked a few boxes, this horse. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, there were plenty of horses back in the field on Saturday that were as suited by this, this hot tempo, and he's the only one that's done anything.
If anything, there was one or two which you'd know better who they were, but he kind of like gave him the suck up. If you're good enough, I'm going now. Come with me. And he just said, fuck off, see, I'm done.
That was, Harpo Marx was one of them, which I was on, and I thought Harpo Marx was going to be going right with him, and he just left him.
And
Harpo Marx is one of those sort of midweek, might have even been a while first up, wasn't it? $1.60 job.
Yeah, and then it came to town at Warwick Farm that same day. I think it bolted in there.
Okay. Well, we'll jump to race 7, which was the Group 2 Expressway over 1,200. And look, Savatiano was blessed off a slow tempo. In fact, Huey's won the Turtle Award or the Valium Award, if we're still doing that. 6 lengths slow to the 600, but it's still...
Dragon Award. Let's call it the Dragon Award.
The Dragon Award.
Yeah, chasing the dragon.
Okay. No comment. But overall, it's produced on the punting form data the strongest figure of the day. So Savatiano's just had a great time out in front and exploded off that tempo. Rob, small field. Did you get a read on any of them that you thought were in for a decent prep?
Some old mates here. The only thing I didn't think could win was Mizzy. She didn't parade well. The rest all paraded, with good condition, relaxed. My girlfriend Emeralds even stood out, but in the back of my mind, I'm going, she didn't perform first up on a wet track when I was on her in a benchmark something race.
She's one of your sort of mistresses.
Oh yeah, we know that. It's got nightmares for Rhoden, but it's he was on that good grey filly, Graceful Glamour, that she beat that day, which looked home. But yeah, I do love Emerald, but in my mind, I've got her as a wet track, which is, she seems to have handled it, or maybe it just wasn't that wet. I think a wet Kenzo is something maybe different to this 7 or 8 at Rosehill. Savatiano looks strong. She doesn't look like a wettie, but she's got wet track form, so that was no excuses. This stage of the day, I didn't want to dive into even money, but after 50 metres, it seemed this race was just about over. The Waller horses look fantastic. Flit, she's a prototype wet tracker. Maybe she's a disappointing, but can we really get that, be that harsh on these horses for not closing in on a good wet tracker, perfectly suited, runs well fresh every start?
And to my eye, just quickly reading the data, they've just all sort of like literally flown home. All of them.
Yeah, but when Savatiano's going that slow for this type of horse, this class of horse, for them to be, there is no. Okay, they've all got a speed map, and they've said either Savatiano or Mizzy's going to lead, and the other 4 we're going to follow them round. Now, Savatiano's gone to the front in a walk. Mizzy has sat 2 lengths off it, and the rest of all sat 2 lengths off Mizzy. So they might as well have pulled their horses out of the race, in the contest after 100 metres, because they were taking no part in it. Emeralds has been sensational. Star of the Sea's been okay. Colding okay, can't knock him, especially at 1,200. Flitz might be cast. She was actually closer than those other, than Emeralds and Star of the Sea, and they've run past her on a soft track. She's got a good fresh record. That was very, very disappointing.
As a form reference, Mark, do you find is this race going to be strong because it's just like a really good barrier trial for most of these, or is it too slow? Concern next start?
I don't I mean, it was a farcically run race, but I don't think that necessarily gets rid of it as a form reference. They have come home. I mean, they're entitled to, but they've come home very quick. And the couple of those that are unsuited, you certainly can't take anything away from. Emerald, Star of the Seas, holding at the unsuitable trip, and Sabatiano's got a great racing style. I mean, she won't get a picnic like that very often, but when she does, that's what she can do. So, they're good Group 2 sort of. I mean, I suppose they run in Group 1 races, these horses these days, because we don't have any Group 1 horses anymore in Australia. But they're up there with as good as they get, unfortunately.
Okay, and we'll touch on race 9, which is Big Parade saluting in a benchmark 88, often even tempo. Mark Munham's done a pretty decent job with this horse. It's won 3 times with a figure within 1 length. So we're talking 5.8, 6.2 and 6.7 figures on the punting form data above the benchmark, and it's won all 3 times. So I think, Mark Rhoden, your comment was for this horse, if it can produce what it's capable of, it basically just wins, and that's pretty much exactly what happened.
It did. I thought it might win a bit easier than that. I was quite impressed with Lillimore's run because she'd been in great form this prep at 1100, and I just thought with the big horse sitting outside her at the 1200, she might be found out late, and she was, but she was only found out very late. It was only the last 20 or so metres he got the upper hand. But the thing that pushed me into backing Big Parade was Rob's report, because, to be honest, he has been a bit of a costly horse, but Rob said he was very relaxed in the yard on Saturday, and when he does get in that comfort zone, get his own way to some extent, or get the conditions to suit, he's a pretty good horse, especially in this kind of class. So I was happy to play there. So thanks, Rob.
Rob, do run through what you thought.
So I had it between 3 and 1. Southern Lad, looked well, but in my mind, he's a horse that appreciates a soft track. And at about the 250, when he was bumping into Big Parade, I was not happy, and I didn't think Big Parade was going to get there. I thought Lillymore was going to hang on. Mo's Crown, he's a horse that does get antsy in the parade. So with him taking up such a market percentage, I thought maybe those two are worth a go. Thermosphere's run very well here, but it did seem short at 1200 at $9 or so. But it's come back well, and that's probably worth following. But yeah, I'd be very careful with any of these horses other than Thermosphere going forward. I think they're just fast enough.
1 or 2 horses to follow from the meeting, boys. Rob?
I think Mallory, she can't but run well, and the thing that ran second, which we were on $1.01, got beat Home Affairs. I think that can go well. Is that enough?
That's enough. Don't force it. Mark, what do you got?
Emerald's in her right race, definitely. I think, considering she was the rank outside of that field, she was very good.
She's clocked the fastest last 600 and 400 metres of the day, Emeralds.
Yep. And the horse we sort of touched on before, Shake, she was 1100 to 1400 there. Had her marked it, well, I think before her second last start, the stable might have thought of her as an 1100, 1200 horse only. But she's gone really well at 1400. I wonder if they'd take her to a mile. She's a bit of a line chaser, so we will see. But I'd like to see Emeralds in our right race.
All right. Thank you very much to you both. The week ahead, what's it looking like? We've got Kenzo on Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, Kenzo back to a lighter schedule this week. Kenzo Wednesday, Gosford Thursday, then into the weekend. I think it's a bit heavier next week. There's Tuesday meetings and that sort of stuff, but just the standard Wednesday, Thursday, and 2 on Saturday this week. All
right, beautiful. Rob, we'll see you out there on just Saturday this week.
I might get to a couple on Wednesday. But I left my my new Surface Pro charger in my dodgy in a spot that I need to pick up. So I might just run out and have a look at the maidens and then get back home. Plus, we're getting a bit of building work done here, so I'll do a bit of work out there.
Yeah, that's it, then.
All right, guys. Thanks very much. We'll speak to you. Mark, we'll see you later in the week. And Rob, we'll catch up with you next week. But go well for the week, boys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.
Part 2 on the deep dive. We're going to be talking around the grounds, WA lightly. Queensland, a little bit heavier. And then obviously a deep dive into Caulfield and a bit of Flemington. But
let's start with Curls, who went at roughly 40% pot for the week, an enormous week, and he bet stack. So 40% does mean a fair bit. Shane, congratulations on a huge week. No doubt, hard earned, a lot of hours, as we all know, goes into producing those little texts, which hopefully are full of gold. But when we do have a fat result, that's important that we celebrate it. Now, did you let off a bit of steam over the weekend?
One thing I've tried to set myself for this year, Jack, is to not have too many swings, whether they be high or low, and just to be trying to stay in the centre. Fuck, I failed dismally on Saturday night. I had a swing, all right. Jeez.
Is Mrs. Curley talking to you?
Slept on the couch last night.
Where'd you sleep Saturday night?
I woke up in my own bed. The path to that point, I was cloudy. But I woke up, Mrs. Curley woke me up. She goes, get out of bed, a few other descriptives. You're meant to be going to Gatton. I said, yeah, I'm going to Gatton. Woke up, rang the local bookmaker who was coming to pick me up. He said, I'm out the front. So I rolled into the shower, rolled out, and realised that I'd left both my laptops at the pub the night before. So I've snuck down to Fitzy's and bless the punning gods, both my laptops were behind the bar where I thought I'd left them. Then rolled into Gatton, and I bet like a champion too yesterday. I still won. I won, and I ran second. That Abba lady probably could have won. Just got beat. Bet well. It's been good. I was that crook at Gatton. So at Gatton, there's like a shed, and you sit under it. It was like 100 degrees, and the sweat was just rolling off my face all day. Like I was so shabby. I'd already done the work for the meeting anyway, so I knew what I wanted to back. It was just a matter of having a look in the parade and making sure there was, nothing wrong with the horses I wanted to bet into. So that was fine. And then the guys that I went with decided to stop at the Hallerton pub. So Hallerton's got a population of 3 just down the range, and they sat there drinking Sharpies all night. I didn't get home from the races till 9 o'clock. I just wanted to... Right. I get to freshen up anyway. I get to freshen up and bet again, betting for the service Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Also with this recreational activities, it's looking like sort of maybe mid-May, June for the haircut.
Yeah, so I'm not allowed to get a haircut until I get to 90 kilos. I'm a long way off getting a haircut. I'm back to the gym tomorrow. I've been saying this for a long time, but I think I'm going to get off the piss now and just try and get a bit fitter.
At home, at least once a fortnight, he'll give you I'm getting off the piss, I'm getting off Twitter.
Yeah. And then I had a look at my itinerary, and I think I'm flying to Melbourne to stay at Pistols for a week. So that'll be good.
That'll be...
Heading down to Melbourne next week.
Yeah, if you're allowed to. I have to isolate for the next 48 hours, courtesy of flying out of Perth last Monday. So I timed that just in time, didn't I? Bloody hell, could have been stuck.
You'll have to walk when we play golf then.
I'm sort of hoping I do. I hope and I caught COVID Saturday night with any luck.
Oh, bloody good. Kels, did you have a few extra clicks on, was it Boreas at Gatton? Because Boreas settled further back than probably expected and hit like 450 or so in run.
Yeah, I did have a couple of clicks. I sort of mapped it back along there anyway, and with a bit of tempo, and yeah, it was. I think we might have got away with one there. That second horse sort of ducked out, ran sideways at the 100. It probably, arguably, cost itself the race. But look, I thought the racing at Gatton yesterday was a lot more exciting than what it was at the Sunshine Coast on Saturday because, we had some wild jocks and some mad tempos and crash and bash. It was good fun. Where on the track on Saturday, we come out pretty strong winners for the day, mainly courtesy of Emerald on Emerald Kingdom.
Oh, God bless that. The time of day that lob too was lovely.
Yeah, just like there was a bit of speed from out wide from that roughie, and Emrod didn't, his roadie's like the best horse, thankfully. So, and come away from the fence, which was also nice to see. And and obviously Simply Fly winning earlier in the day. I'm not sure whether you guys watched that, but there was some big prices matched in run. Like it was going to be the biggest moral beat you'd ever seen. And Steph Thornton found a way. So not a lot to report on the track. It was, I think I said in the preview that it was a pretty ho-hum sort of low meeting, and the punting form data.
It doesn't lie, does it? And there are some disgustingly slow times.
Slow lead times, apart from the last two races, which were the better class ones, I suppose, or in a way. The Sunny Coast Cup was the fast class race, and they've just managed to get under all benchmark for the meeting. Like two horses have ran below benchmark for the meeting. So, like I say, not a lot to come out of it. We'll have to dig a little bit deeper to try and find those disadvantaged horses.
Good place to race a horse. There's 75-100K races, and there's horses that'll race probably a Donald today that'll run faster.
Yeah, that's it's like a traditionally low time of the year. The carnival's summer carnival's gone. The winter carnival's a little way away, so that we're a while off seeing some decent horses come back for the winter. So, but I don't really care, to be honest. I just want to bet. It wouldn't matter whether there was camel races, would be betting into them. So
that's why we love you, girls. Speaking of camel races, over in WA, there's the potential that there might not be any racing this week. We'll find out on Tuesday. But it was lovely to have Bunbury cut off halfway through the meeting yesterday. By sharing second favourite in the listed race worth $100,000. So,
but they stopped the meeting halfway through.
Yeah.
Just in case the people who are already there.
Yeah.
Spread it by staying there and not panicking.
Yeah.
Strange.
It sort of happened, at Sandown once last year when Zara had been on a plane, so they called that meeting off pretty late notice, and I think it might have happened once in Adelaide as well. So it's not there is precedent for that, but nothing to report from WA other than that.
Is West still best right now, or you're starting to get a bit shaky with that sort of rhetoric?
I can finally say that I'm living in the world's most livable. It's only taken me 18 months. But yeah, outside of the drift on Excellent Dream, that's probably the only thing I want to remember from Saturday's meeting at Ascot. So bless Uncle Lindsay and bless the drift. But Dickens at Caulfield Saturday, track raced pretty well. There was a heap of rain beforehand and still a pretty decent day's racing, I thought.
Yeah, I don't think you wanted to be worse than midfield apart from the staying races. So if you're reviewing it that way, but credit to the track staff. The track raced good versus the rain it had. I was quite concerned with the amount of rain. I'm not far from Caulfield, a little way, but not that far. And people I know there, it pissed down. So that amount of rain, and there was a little bit of drizzle around Saturday as well. Well done. That track's had its problems recently, and it looks like they've got it right.
Yep.
Hopefully, getting through a meeting like that, which was the second meeting in the week, doesn't cause any problems, but it shouldn't. I thought the meeting on Australia Day, just while we're sort of deep diving, was as strong or stronger than the Saturday meeting. The figures back that up, and they're coming off a good track, which I prefer to this soft sort of track. So it was a Tuesday meeting, but it's basically a Saturday card, and treat it like that when you're sort of doing the form going forward. I suppose that photo in the last, which would have capped off one of the most frustrating days that we've had on track. Well, not on track. We've been on for 3 days, but we won for the week, but we had a complete strip on Saturday. That's how good we were going. And I've gone back and reviewed the bets, and the only bet we didn't sort of have that we might have had was defibrillate.
Yep.
And I don't know where I'd be mentally if I did. Such is a North Korean strategy behind racing media. people are going to blow up if you release a photo that looks like the favourite has an edge, and then come out and say, "Oh, 2 people have seen the other side of the photo, and it is a dead heat." I fully accept and trust that it was a dead heat, but control the narrative. Like, you can literally try and control every other aspect of like narrative in the sport.
Yeah.
To its own detriment, but like, just don't release that photo or release both.
Yeah, I agree. If you have a look on racing.com at the moment, the only photo you get is a very low-res image and you can't tell anything. It kind of
there's an article on racing.com saying that people, like 2 or 3 people, have seen the other like higher resolution picture, and it does look like a dead heat. Yeah. I'm sure it was a dead heat. Like the game is full of rauters.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about one pretty soon. But this is not how you do rorting. Like, when there's like literally just a picture, it's too hard to rort this way. There's too many other easy ways to rort. 100% trust that it's a dead heat. Just present that better to the public.
Yeah, I completely agree. In terms of the race, like we're talking about race 9 there at Caulfield, Payne and Egan, like, I guess it's fair to say Paddy Payne sort of went through a little bit of a flat spot there over the last, what was it, like Spring Carnival, out of Spring Carnival over the summer, but certainly
that's not fair to say. A little rough spot.
Yeah, flat.
His horses stopped running. He's got over that whatever was wrong at his stable, and his horses are running real fast again, and consistent. And the market loves them. The racing media will start talking about how good Billy Egan's going again.
Yeah,
the plate smasher. But his horses are running big races, and he's back, and you can trust him. I think De Kock and Griffiths still flying. Ellerton, Zara, airborne. Who else would you say is hot? I'd have those 3 top of head.
Graham Begg seems to be producing consistently.
How's this curls? But like, how hard it is? Well, not hard, just part of the grey up process. Graham Begg's horse was clearly on top in the first, and Aussie Nugget was clearly on top in the second from the yard. But then when you overlay that, you give him a few points, and then you put that into the price. Still like about the market. 2 years ago, it would have just been a couple of units at both winners. This is predominantly yard, so it's just about finding that balance for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, eh? Hard to balance. Sometimes hard to balance. I mean, I've got my own sort of theories here on certain trainer-jockey combos with money, and sometimes, there's occasions where price is irrelevant. Literally, some combos are taking any price.
Yeah, which I don't think Paddy Payne and Bill Egan is that, because he rides every horse virtually the same way, which is cold, with cover, and produces them extremely late, and they need to be very, very good, and the tempo needs to suit for it to be able to win. We saw Bill Egan completely slaughtered Strategic Phil earlier in the day, jumped well, but his style doesn't suit that horse.
Yeah.
This is a great rider. I'm not bagging the ride. I'm bagging the ride for that horse. I'm not bagging the rider. They've all got their own styles. Strategic Phil needed to sit in the 1-1. It got home quite well in that race, but it was just too far back versus horses with a better turn of foot. But money like combos, to what Curly was just speaking about, is whatever race. That's the.
You're thinking race 6, aren't you?
Race 6.
Ginger Jones.
My lord. Now, I'm pricing every race in Victoria, just about. Price this race. Hidden Legend, a huge edge. Going to be a huge bet, regardless of parade, just about. Ginger Jones, the other edge in the race. Now, Petey, you correct me if I'm wrong. You come over the top if you want to add to it. Like, before the race, before the yard. Like, we share the prices. I'm like, I can't believe we've got this Ginger Jones this price. Like, if this wins, I'm going to fucking spew. Because we backed this horse at Bendigo first up with Jay Carr on it, who's a little bit better than who rode it?
Will Price.
At this stage of their lives, I'd rather have Jay Carr on the horse, even with the extra 3 kilos. I'd have it rather on with probably 6 more. And it was awful that day, and was ridden with 0 intent. I think we might have backed it or thought about backing it on a Ballarat synthetic track last preparation, where it was awful again. Got knocked off by Hayes' horse.
Smarter listen.
Like, complete fucking spell. This thing, it was still a bet, but I didn't send it. I sent 3 units on Hidden Legend, who, that 200 out, I thought, well done, good. We're home here. Winning day, huge week, because we filled up on Friday. I let Ginger Jones go without me. It was still an over despite the late hemorrhage. It was 9s into about 650, Pete.
650, yeah, 660, I think, like, yeah.
Oh, on the fair, it just collapsed. Yeah, who? How? It didn't parade outstanding. It paraded okay, Peter.
Yeah, I'd say above average. Like I had interest in it, but again, like you're looking at the map and you're going, okay, so gate 1, are they going to show intent here? Because the whole of last prep, there was no money to support it, and it was just settling back. It has previously been able to settle on speed, but he certainly used a bit of intent there, Will Price.
Oh, I mapped it to be just about leading, but I did the same thing at Bendigo first up last prep. And there was no questions asked them when it didn't lead there. The change of tactics is a bit like completely dead. I'm not going to start talking about that again. That doesn't exist. But this thing's improved 9.5 lengths on the performance it put up first up last prep.
Yeah.
Which is a big, well done, huge training effort. But for it to crunch $9 into 650 late, I thought $9 was tight. Surprised we sort of found it, but we did. Who knew and how they knew, and it was someone decent because they've moved the market dramatically late.
Trained on track, is it?
Yeah, on track. So was the second horse.
So I did see you mention the horse last night on the tweet. I went and had a look, and it can run a peak figure on its home track, that horse.
Mm.
I know it's going back a fair way, but you go back to the end of its prep, a couple of preps back, and
which is like it produced the 8.2 there, Curls, and that's like the figure that justifies it being a decent horse.
Correct, and then its next preparation, like you say, it's
So first up, the previous prep, 10.4 slow, below the average. Then at 2.4, improved 8 lengths. Then an 8.2. And if you look at that, it ran second, 6th. It was like 12s into 10s and 1 when it produced the big figure at home. Then last preparation, first up at Sale, 1.5 slow. Then it went to Bendigo, where it went 2.8 below. So first up last prep, it went 5 lengths below the all average to the 600. On Saturday, it went 0.4 above first up. Last preparation, first up, overall performance, 1.5 slow, 5.2 slow, 4 slow, 2.1 fast, 0.6 slow, 2.7 above fast. So it was the 26th, it was Boxing Day 2019 when it last ran a figure above 3. When that coincides with the complete and utter hemorrhaging late in betting.
Absolutely.
It's like you always say, Curls, it's only a reward if you're not in on it.
That's what they say. You only have to look at its SP profile and the fluctuations last prep. Like there was never any interest in the horse.
Ever.
Anyway, well done. They got the shallot by the looks of it.
They did.
Yep.
We got beaten. We ran second again. I think we backed Azar.
Sack book.
Yeah.
What do we do with Azar and Tagaloa? Oh. My gut feel is just to avoid any race that they're in moving forward because they're both extremely talented, probably will win their fair share of races and probably some good races. But they both got a lot of head noirs by the look of them and very hard to predict. And their SP profile is just not going to be anything worth getting involved in.
What do we do with this race? Because Portland Sky, the winner, produced a figure that was less than Enthar, who won the 2-year-old race.
And Enthar went 5.2. 6 lengths slower to the 600 than these horses.
Yeah. It's bizarre sort of looking at it after the fact, isn't it? I mean,
it was a race just after each other. So on Saturday, sometimes with the sectional times and the benchmarks, when you have like a real wet track and then it dries out through the day, which this would have done, there can be a little bit of variance. This is straight after each other. It's a real chinky sort of form. Like I don't like it. I'm just going to avoid them though. I'm not.
Yeah.
I pen either, because I think ASAR will just come out and blow them away probably, but I don't want to be on. I don't want to be against.
And surely there was like it wasn't the worst effort Tagaloa, was it?
It was a great effort, but what, like, when you look, and they've only gone 1.2 slow for the class, it was off the bit on the corner. It's just confusing stuff.
I mean, I'm not sure our connections would be wrapped with the ride, just sitting.
What do you mean you're not sure, Peter? You were looking through the binos at Natalie giving Mark Zara a big time bake.
It looked like it. There was a few hand movements and gesticulations aimed at the jock, but I don't know. My lip reading's not that good from 60 metres away.
I don't reckon the stable's going much good anyway.
Yeah, but a little bit like the Snowdens, they seem to come good in about a month and win a big race.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just enough to keep it. Just enough spruik to keep it ticking over, I suppose.
It's just racing. It's just like sport. It's just form. So, well, we backed the Prushka horse on Tuesday. Was it Curls? Wednesday, maybe Geelong.
Yeah.
It was 350 into 250. Like, we bet at 11 a.m. too. It's like a lot of market support for the horse. Blessed in run. Didn't let down. 12 months ago, that Prushka horse would have won comfortably.
Yeah.
I mean, but that we're getting into the big races. Like, I'm not saying Prushka never to be backed again, but I think you want to see a sign that his horses are starting to run better, stronger, and then he'll go on his run, and the rest of them will drop off. It's just what happens.
I mean, as we were talking about with Payne earlier, it's like it's impossible to know if a stable gets a virus it goes through or something like that, which can just affect a lot of the results. And the market might take a while to catch up with it. But we did mention Enthar just then. This recorded a new PB. I just want to get your thoughts on what you thought of the type, Dico.
I wasn't blown away by the type. You?
I was expecting something a little bit more, just given on, we were talking with Mark Shan, Rob Scurry and Mark Rhoden about this horse late last year and the fact that it was like physically more dominant as a type. It certainly looks like it hasn't grown that much more, and a few of these others have almost caught up to it, but you can't really argue with the figure it's produced.
Yeah, I think, like, type aside, what she did, she needs to lose some size and get a virus for these horses to be able to compete with her.
Yeah.
She's fucking dominant. Like, the figures are enormous, and she wasn't even really asked for much.
Yeah.
And then we just had Rob and Mark on for the Sydney stuff. It doesn't sound like there's anything too special there.
Yeah.
It looks like the Blue Diamond's hers. I wonder what price she is. She should be like $2.50. And at the moment, the Golden Slipper's just about there as well. I've tried to find sort of problems, maybe like the soft track stuff, but she got through that. She sort of just ticked another box. Her racing pattern and style is just a big box ticking beast.
Yeah.
The gear change didn't raise any eyebrows.
No.
The crossover noseband and the tongue tie going on, I just thought it was a interesting gear change. Whether did it have a breathing issue or anything, but certainly didn't look like there was any issue there Saturday.
It's just like an enormous figure. Right through the line.
Yeah.
Like their races come home so much faster than every other race. And there's a lot of other faster early tempos on the day.
I suppose the best thing to come out of that is that you're not going to be betting against her and she's going to be too short to back her. So just one less race you've got to do form on. Fantastic.
Exactly,
result.
Yeah. A little bit like the ASAR Tagaloa set up for me.
Yeah. $2.10 for the Blue Diamond at the moment.
Yeah, that's exactly what Like, that's 250 for us. It's 210 for them. That's about right.
Yeah, exactly. Race 7, Yulon captain, just did what Yulon.
Oh, fuck me.
I think you traded $1.06 off the top of my head, maybe $1.08.
Wow.
Well, we backed ASAR, who got beaten by Portland Sky, despite sitting outside of it the whole race. Like, hard to cob. Then we got beaten by Ginger Jones, which we've just gone on about, which the pain was severe because of other issues, which shouldn't get inside your head. They don't during the day. They do a little bit, but not too much. Then this fucking Yulon captain, and then that Nichols horse, Brazen Song or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
A few of them are just...
Solid Sovereign is just jumped out of the ground.
Yeah.
That thing was... He called it once.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
I think Yulon captain's going good. I just don't think you're going to get a great price. I'm glad we didn't waste too many units on it, but I'm happy I backed it to an extent. It was there to win. It maybe went a bit early for the sort of brain power of the horse. It doesn't look like a huge trier, but it's got ability.
Yeah, I thought he produced it at the right time. Like, they were going slow, and he's basically just taking the trail at the right time.
I think that's a great way to... I'm nitpicking there.
Yeah.
In run, which is all what I always say, is I think you need to judge a rider, your instinct straight away.
Yeah.
I was very happy that he was put into the race when he was.
Yeah. And it was travelling well on the turn. Like, he hadn't touched it at all. So hence it traded really short. I mean, like, if I'm reviewing the race, I go Yulon captain suited.
Yeah.
Yeah. No excuses there. Anyway, that will leave.
Same with the ASAR ride too. I'm not bagging D Lane. I thought the ride was perfect. Everyone thought the horse had run past it. I wish Mick D was a little bit more aggressive on Hidden Legend. Put it sort of into the race a little bit sooner. Made a bit more of a fight. But I think he thought he had it covered too, which is pretty fair. So, yeah.
Yeah. It was a decent day's racing without anything outstanding.
It was a great week racing down here.
Yeah.
What was it called on Friday?
The rapid racing. That's what I wanted to touch on. I actually
great.
really enjoy it. I love it.
If I was running it, I would cancel the motivational speeches from the coaches, because I also think they're so cringy, and they're very, like, I imagine they're really hard to deliver. They'd be even harder to sit through and look like these greats of Victorian sport in the eye and not sort of lose it. But they are also sort of saying things that are illegal in racing about helping each other and, you know, riding in the team and stuff like that. But outside that, I thought the day was great. You're able to really build like a pattern as a punter for the straight races where you want to be and run. Obviously, we won the heat, so we're going to have a bit of a biased view, I guess. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it last year. I actually preferred, if I had to pick between everyone having the same silks or the coaches' sprays, I'd rather the same silks because I just love that chaos.
You're a sick man.
Except for that one that bet that you sent.
Mo dear.
The Willow ride that TB called it winning when it was never winning.
No, I'm going to get hammered for backing TV again, but we all thought that one, didn't we, Pete?
That was the one I didn't think had won. I thought something else had won on the same day, and it didn't. So, what can you do?
Oh, I thought it won. So, the only regret really from Friday was I think we underbet Platini and underbet Arigato.
Yeah.
But Arigato, and you know what this is like, Curls. I'm deciding on the send, and we backed another horse that was like half its price when I'm sending it. So I'm like 1 unit and half unit. But they jumped about the same price. Because Arigato just collapsed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard to. It is hard.
You just don't know what to do.
It gets like it's particularly when their prices are like, you know, all of us are in the same sort of boat where we like to bet late. We want to have a look at them. You know, there's certain horses you want to see go to the barriers. You want to see what sort of warm up they're being given or whether they're going on a pony. All those little things.
Yes. Yep.
And
some great pearls there.
And then you walk to the betting ring and it's you walk back to your laptop and it's gone 650 into 490. Like sometimes it makes it harder. You have to miss a price by 50 cents or a dollar. It's
particularly when the horses are around the 9 to 950, like they haven't touched 10, and they're just around and above 5. They can flip. They can quickly both go to 7, real quick.
yeah.
We sort of like hovered over Ginger Jones, just trying to build a position, and watched them parade, decide on the bet. So you go back to your computer, and your money you're trying to get matched is just so far above where the action's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arigado a bit the same, but we managed to get a bit more down there, which is good. I thought rapid racing was great though. I think it's a good idea. And the timing was I think was all right. We were able to go and have a beer after.
Yeah.
It wasn't too late. Like the night racing, once you finish at Moonee Valley, it's home time. It's bedtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm tipping it.
All right. It's a pretty decent week ahead. You got Sandown on the Hillside Wednesday.
On track. We're both going. How good?
Yeah. Moonee Valley Friday night. Caulfield. The first Group 1 of the year, the CF4. So it's a pretty decent week.
Yeah, we've had today off. Where are they racing? Oh, Donald. Yeah. We'll have today off. We'll be betting on track on Wednesday. We'll have bets, like a few bets through the day on Thursday at Kilmore and Pakenham, no doubt. Most likely. Likely bet at a couple at Warrnambool. We'll be on track at the Valley, and we'll be betting Yarra Valley, but we'll be on track at Caulfield on Saturday. Unlikely to bet Ballarat first up for a while. Don't trust that track on Sunday or Ararat. So probably have Sunday off again.
Beauty. Thanks for joining, guys. We'll catch up later in the week, do a bit of a preview, and go head first into the weekend. So go well, fellas.
Arigato.